Imogene's Last Stand. Littleville, New Hampshire was small. So small it wasn't even a speck on the state map. Still, Littleville was a home to a village green, a general store, a three-legged cat, and a little girl named Imogene Tripp. Imogene loved his story. When she was a baby, her first words were 77 years ago. As a preschooler, she finger-painted an accurate map of the Oregon Trail. And as a kindergartner, she used her show-and-tell time to give a series of lectures on important women in history. Now, Imogene's attention was on the Littleville Historical Society. The society, a centuries-old house stuffed with dusty antiques, had sat at the end of the main street, unloved and unwanted, until Imogene pushed open its creaky front door. "Wow!" she exclaimed. "What a mess!" added her father. Imogene shook her head. "This isn't mess, Daddy," she declared. "This is history, and in the immortal words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., we are made by history." When she got busy sweeping away cobwebs, filling old letters, pasting yellowed photographs into albums, identifying fossils, organizing arrowheads, and even refinishing our four-poster bed. And then, whenever she was done, Imogene waited and waited. In the immortal words of Davy Crockett, she sighed, "Ain't nobody coming?" Finally, one Monday morning, a worksman arrived. He panted a sign into the society's front yard. "Tore down!" cried Imogene. "But in the immortal words of William Morris, old buildings do not belong to us. They belong to our forefathers, and they will belong to our descendants." The workman shrugged. "Tell it to the mayor." So Imogene did. When she finished, Mayor Butts shook his cheeks. "But my position is firm. Out with the old and in with the new." "What about this society?" cried Imogene. "What about history?" "Who cares about history?" snorted the mayor. "Shoelaces will put us on the town map." He showed her the door. Out onto the sidewalk, Imogene fumed. "I won't let it happen. In the immortal words of John Paul Jones, I have not yet begun to fight." And fight she did. Tuesday morning, dressed up in her Paul Revue's costume from Halloween, Imogene galloped up and down the main street. "The bulldozers are coming! The bulldozers are coming!" she shouted, and no one heeded her cry. Finally, Mr. Tuttlewit stepped out of the general store. "Oh, hold your ponies, little missy. Don't you know shoelaces are going to put us on the town map?" Imogene snatched up her stick horse. In the immortal words of Theodore Roosevelt, balderdash, she stomped home to her father. But Wednesday morning, she was at it again, armed with step ladders and scotch tape, and tied a red and white ribbon around every tree, streetlight, stop sign, parking meter, mailbox, fire hydrant, bike rack, baby stroller, and dog collar in town. "Don't let your past get smashed," she cried. No one joined her cause. Finally, Dr. Ditzwilliam said, "The bows are really pretty, honey, but shoelaces will put us on the town map." Imogene frowned. She tugged home to her father. But Thursday morning, she was back. Up before dawn, she scribbled until her fingers crampled. Then, as the sun rose in the sky, bit plane dipped low over Littleville and dropped hundreds of handmade flyers. Rally on the village green and save your history. Each one read. No one rallied. Finally, little Abner Pitt pedaled over on his tricycle. Don't you understand, Emmy? Shoelaces are going to put us on the town map. It was the last straw. In the immortal words of Chief Joseph, she sobbed, "My heart is sick and sad." She ran home to her father. All too soon it was Friday. Imogene wandered through her beloved society. "Goodbye, photographs," she sniffled. "Goodbye, fossils and four-poster bed. Goodbye, old letters." A yellowed parchment caught her eye. Imogene read it once. She read it twice. Dear sir, thank you again for the hospitality you showed me last Tuesday. The oxtail soup was delicious, and the four-poster bed soft and as angel clouds. Indeed, I have not slept so well since leaving Mount Vernon. Your humble and obedient servant, George Washington. Imogene gasped. George Washington? Had he really slept here? Quickly, she wrote a message explaining everything to the re-owned Littleville historian, Professor Cornelia Passmatters. Please hurry, Imogene begged. Then she finally clicked send and began to pace. Time! If only she had more time! But how could she get some? Inspiration struck, and Imogene sprang into action. Then Saturday, and the bulldozers arrived. Imogene's trip stood ready. In the immortal words of Vietnam War protesters, she shouted, "Heck no, I won't go." The bulldozers rolled to a stop, watching and waiting. Her father came on the run. "Imogene, get out of their way!" But Imogene squared her shoulders. "Daddy," she declared, in the immortal words of Abraham Lincoln, "A great oak is only a nut that's held underground." I'm holding my ground. Just then, Mayor Butts huffed the porch stairs. "Unlock yourself this instant." "Heck no, I won't go," Imogene cried. The mayor whirled on Imogene's father. "Do something." Imogene looked from the mayor to his daughter and back again. "Heck no, we won't go," he finally cried. Mayor Butt's nostrils flared. "But that pipsqueak can't stay on the porch forever, and when she moves, smash." He stumped back to the bulldozers. As the sun rose higher, the townsfolk gathered to see what was happening. Mr. Tuttlewit arrived. So did Officer Fitzwilliam and little Abner Pitt. He called out, "Are you all right, Emmy?" "In the immortal words of President Martin Van Buren, I am okay," she replied firmly. By mid-afternoon, TV reporters had arrived. They rushed to interview the little girl who refused to leave the porch. In the immortal words of Eleanor Roosevelt, "You must do the thing you think you cannot do," Imogene told them. Suddenly, a limousine appeared. Its doors opened and stepped out Professor Passmatters. Gathered Imogene, followed by the President of the United States, gasped the crowd. The President headed straight for the cameras. And here to declare this house as a national landmark, she held up a brass plaque. "George Washington slept here." Imogene whooped. "We did it!" She indeed agreed Professor Passmatters. "I'm so proud," said Imogene's father. Little Abner Pitt stepped forward. "Wait," he cried. "What about shoelaces?" "Shoelaces?" Mayor Butts snorted. "Who cares about shoelaces?" He smiled for the cameras. "Why, our town is a is history. It will put us on the map. The townspeople cheered. The bulldozers rumbled away, and Imogene plucked the key from her pocket and freed herself. Then everyone, even Mayor Butts, went on a tour of the Littleville Historical Society. In the immortal words of me, Imogene later said as she waved goodbye to the last of her guests, "That was totally fun." "I'm sure it was," laughed her father. "It sure was."